can be your own boss, set your own schedule, work with who you want to work with. Those are the pluses. There are some minuses too. And you got to be careful that, and this is something Dr. Weiss says, you got to be careful that the boss that you're leaving or the boss that you're going to, meaning you, is not worse than the boss that you're leaving.
I'm excited to bring forward an entrepreneur who's bringing over 2 decades worth of experience in his field to the show. That means tons of tips and ways for you to succeed on your journey. He said he's streaming in from beautiful Baltimore, Maryland in the brisk weather today. Thank you so much, Manny, for stopping by that entrepreneur show.
Vincent, thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Now I have to ask the background. Where are we looking at?
Yeah. That's the island of Carpathos in Greece, where my parents were born.
Have you ever visited? Got a chance to
I
visit?
have. I've been very blessed. Yes.
You're gonna have to share with us something great about that visit. That's that
All
destination to
right.
travel.
Oh gosh. It First of all, the beaches are pristine, the people are very friendly, and the food is fantastic.
Well, you can't beat that. Everyone, you better go
Mhm.
check that out. But for now, this is that entrepreneur show. I'm excited to bring on yet another founder to share their journey with everyone today. Be sure to check out the show at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media. Head to YouTube at Vincent A. Lancy. Give a subscribe there and check out the video behind the scenes from this show. But let's start out, Manny. What led you to become an entrepreneur at first?
Uh, it's in the blood, Vincent. My parents immigrated from that island, as I mentioned, and they were doing all different types of jobs in order to be able to survive. This is right after the end of World War II. And we started in the restaurant business. And from there, we were taught a lot of lessons by, not only our parents, but also other relatives in the business. So from an early age, you're learning about, pricing, costing, how to take care of your customers so somebody else does, right? And you just kind of get used to it at an early age.
I love that pricing, costing at an early age. I think that's great.
Yeah.
What kind of restaurant business was it?
This was, the typical like breakfast and lunch place. Um, I would call it like I guess today's world, they call it a fast casual. All right.
Very cool. Now where you are now is a long way from there. Let's fill in the gap a little bit. What led you to the business you're working on now?
Yeah, sure. Again, I did not have any idea. I was committed to the restaurant business. Never thought I was ever going to change. My parents always stressed education. Um, so they said, you got to continue to go to school because we don't have $1 million to leave you. And I enjoyed having cash in my pocket, Vincent, every time I came home from work. So those were the big draws of the restaurant business that offset the 6 day, 7 day work weeks and long hours. And then finally, I was in my late 20s, and I said, I got to go try something else while I can.
Yeah.
And I was listening to other people. They're saying, hey, do it when you're young. And I decided to make a career change. I went to I had gotten my bachelor's along the way, right? Because my parents stressed education. And then, exited the restaurant into graduate school, still working in the restaurant club while going to grad school, out of grad school into a bank, into a commercial lending training program in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. So I worked 9 years in the bank and I had a lot of great teachers and mentors. And then I decided I wanted to do something on my own. So I moved back to Baltimore, hung a shingle out as a
Mhm.
consultant, and I've been very blessed to have been doing it for the past 20 years.
Well, right now, for everyone who's listening on today, who would your ideal client be in case it is someone tuning in today?
Sure. So my ideal client is doing between $5 and $50 million a year in revenue, privately held, usually one or two owners. They've got a couple, what George Steinbrenner used to refer to as chinks in the armor. So, they've had like maybe a little scare or something that really helped them understand how easy it can be to lose a business. And they are ready for the straight, unvarnished opinion. They want somebody that's going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
And that's extremely important. The
Mhm.
yeah, that looks great type comments, they only take you so far. But while we're on this topic, we'll revisit at the end. Where are you online so we can check all everything you have out?
Well, thank you. I'm at Portal CFO, Portal CFO.com. And I've got a whole host of blogs that I've written over the last 12 years and just kind of little tidbits of information that if you've got a topic that you want additional information, you can certainly uh, search in the blog search feature. And then I'm on LinkedIn too. Uh, my name, Manny Skevofilax. That might be a little tough to spell. Those are the two main pieces of social media for me.
Well, since you just brought something up, blogging for 12 years, that's seen a lot of evolution in the world of blogging from where it was and where it is now. What was your first blog about? Do you remember?
You know, the first blog was about making sure your business stays profitable all the time. That was one of the first ones, you know.
What kind of forums did they have, or did you post it on your Facebook? I don't know if Facebook was even out yet. Maybe, yeah, it was. It was
So
probably
back in the day, it was Blogger, which
Blogger.
by Google, which I think is still around, and then went from Blogger into, you know, some people opened my eyes, some savvy marketing people, and said, "Hey, you got to go into WordPress." So I've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
sitting in WordPress for the last like 12 years.
pretty cool. Thank you
Then
for
then
sharing that.
yeah,
Well, now let's look at you've had this great career. What is one of your greatest lessons learned that you can pay forward right now?
perseverance. Nothing happens on the timeline that we want it to happen.
Never
That's in my
does.
opinion, right? We want everything yesterday, especially as Americans. You know, give me my stuff now. But if you can just persevere, just stick to it, and you know, in my experience, you know, you're going to get to wherever you want to go.
I appreciate you sharing that. Now, something I do outside of hosting is I do podcast coaching and book coaching.
Okay.
Out of a guy like you, would you prefer to read a book or listen to a podcast, depending on your busy work life that you have?
All right. So, you know, I got used to reading books, right? We didn't have podcasts. I'm slowly making the conversion. I enjoy listening.
A
So
lot of
yeah.
people do now, and I'm also similar. I
Mhm.
like the physical book in my hand, so I've neglected to put out audiobooks, which are like podcasts people want to listen to in the car. So that seems to be the trend. I'm starting to talk to my guests more about that as you are involved in business. But since you said books, which book would you recommend to everyone tuning in today?
A book by my mentor, Alan Weiss, Weiss. The book's called Million Dollar Consulting. It is this filled with this man's knowledge. You know, there's 50 years of experience here, um, targeted towards, you know, people that want to do better in business.
I love that. Well, it's been a great episode. We've covered a lot in a short period of time. We've gotten right to the point with this guest. But Manny, what's next for you? Are we working on scaling what you're on right now, or do you already have something else in the pipeline?
Um, I made a decision long ago based on reading, you know, Dr. Weiss's books that I wanted to be a solopreneur. And you know, yes, I did make a little bit of a, a change. You know, I wanted to hire some people years ago. That didn't work out too well. So I went back to being a solopreneur. So I just continue to do my thing and find business owners that I can add tremendous value to, and that's what excites me is helping business owners, you know, meet their goals.
I love it.
So I'm going to keep on keeping on, and I've got a couple of I got a book that's, you know, in the writing stage now. Hope to release it next summer.
Yeah, I already shared with him
Mhm.
behind the scenes. When he's ready, we'll get him on Writing with Authors, everyone.
Yeah.
So you already know how to tune into that on YouTube. But before I revisit your contact info one more time where we can find you, you've been a solopreneur life. Describe what it is like being a solopreneur for everyone out there today who is tuning in as someone who's just about to take that leap. And they want the realistic, like you said, the real version of what we do when we're by ourselves in the beginning.
I mean, that's a great question, Vincent. You know, part of it is you have to be content with slow progress. It's a big deal, making that leap. And, you know, the interesting thing is that you're 100% accountable for, all your mistakes. But on the other side, you get 100% of the credit for the stuff that you do right. Um, you're going to have an interesting world where you can be your own boss, set your own schedule, work with who you want to work with. Those are the pluses. There are some minuses too. And you got to be careful that, and this is something Dr. Weiss says, you got to be careful that the boss that you're leaving or the boss that you're going to, meaning you, is not worse than the boss that you're leaving, because we tend to be really tough on ourselves.
Yeah, that is the truth, especially with our unrealistic expectations and all of those things combined. But Manny, I really appreciate you reaching out, getting on the show. It's always great to have new entrepreneurs come on. Maryland's not a state I get to often, so thank you for making me stop there today one more time with all of your contact information.
Yes, thank you, Vincent. My website is portalcfo.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn.
All right. Can you mind spelling your last name one more time for
Sure.
everyone out there?
Yes, it's Skevofilax, Skev as in Victor, F as in Frank, Ilax.
Thank you for sharing that, everyone. Be sure to go to his page and at least say hello. The show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media. I am at Vincent A. Lancy, so say hi to me there and be sure to throw a follow on YouTube as we have some video clips from this show going up there. And for now, we're signing off from Tampa to Baltimore. Manny, thank you so much.
Yep, thanks for having me, Vincent.